Michelle, do you want to try to make them the right way at some point?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
We're
right.
doing that tonight.
Well, we're not.
I think you should do it and then rub it all over each other and.
Roxanne.
I was. Did you what? What
You're
did you
talking about potatoes and it goes to sex.
Did you say rub the buttered potatoes all over our naked bodies? All right, so this French chef, what's his name? It's like
I don't know. Robuchon or something.
Robuchon or something.
I don't speak French.
This guy was a famous Michelin-starred French chef, and this guy. Fester, look up. No, don't put dead French chef in the Google box. Just put.
That's the way to search.
He's like the most Michelin-starred chef.
Yeah, I think this guy who's now deceased. Fester, just type in famous French mashed potatoes. And why were you in news?
I was looking something. I was looking up turkey fryer fires.
It's Joel Robuchon.
Robuchon.
Yeah. Joel Robuchon, the Michelin-starred chef of the century. That's what he's called. And Michelle, where'd you come across this recipe?
I just Googled, mashed potatoes for you, and that's what came up.
So it turns out that this guy made mashed potatoes that were world famous, world renowned, but it calls for almost as much butter as potatoes. It's actually it's 2-to-1, right?
Yes.
It's a 2-to-1 ratio. So
it's really mashed butter.
So
it is. You got that right.
For 5 pounds of potatoes, you have to use 2.5 pounds of butter. Isn't butter in French?
Bill.
Mademoiselle Michelle, when you make my mashed potatoes, you must use the extra butter.
It's pretty good, Fester.
Oui.
All right, so Michelle, explain what happened.
You wouldn't let me buy the right potatoes the first time.
We couldn't find the right.
Right. You can't buy that.
First of all, the French dude, the dead French chef dude, he wants you to use raté, R-A-T-T-E, raté potatoes, which try finding French raté potatoes in freaking Tampa, Florida.
I grow it in my garden about 30 kilometers outside of Paris.
What are you, Mexican now?
Yeah, I know.
Well, we're talking about
All of a sudden, you're Speedy Gonzalez.
All right.
I'm Slowpoke Rodriguez.
Listen, I'm working on a joke here, Michelle, where I say that he's embalmed with this stuff. So get to your story.
Just
Get your
about.
accent straight.
Right, so Michelle and I got into a fight. Where were we? Where were we?
Walmart.
All right, so we're at Walmart.
Walmart.
We're at Walmart, and we get into a fight over the potatoes. Why do we get into a fight over the potatoes?
Because I said to you, these Canadian potatoes are probably most like the potato that is called for in the recipe. And you said, you could just buy these Yukon Gold potatoes, Michelle. It says they're good for mashing on the front of them. Look at it. The bag says good for
Michelle,
mashing.
do you know what state borders Canada? Idaho, okay? A little tip.
Whatever.
Well, here's the deal.
How different can Canadian potatoes
because
be?
they speak French in Canada and some
They're
areas.
They're not Quebec potatoes.
Here's the potato fiasco. So we're at Walmart, and Michelle wanted me to get these French Canadian potatoes at Walmart, and she said these will probably work. I said no. So then we went across the street to Publix. This is in South Tampa on Gandy. We went across to the new Publix, and then what are you laughing at? Why are you laughing at me?
It all makes sense now.
It
all makes sense now.
All right, we go to Publix, and they didn't have the French Canadian potatoes. At Publix, they had just Yukon Golds or gold.
Okay.
We bought the gold potatoes, and Michelle's like, they're not going to work. I said, Michelle, they're going to be fine. So
potato's a potato. That's what you kept saying to me. A potato's a potato.
So,
I said it's not the same.
That's not the case.
Right.
Sometimes potatoes are too waxy. Not starchy
Fester.
enough.
Well, hang on.
Yeah.
Potato, huh?
Michelle decided to make the potatoes on Wednesday night. And
because I was worried already because I knew.
She wanted to make the potatoes on Wednesday night, then refrigerate, and then we'll just heat them up the next day. Now, Michelle, you even bought some metal new contraption.
It's a food mill.
So Michelle bought a food mill.
Year is this?
It's like this. It's 1839.
Michelle, is it like a ricer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I have a ricer.
Okay.
but she got this food mill. It's like this stainless steel hopper with like little disc blades, and you put the potatoes in, and then you got to crank the handle like I'm in
What are you, Amish?
1905.
Jebediah, bring me my hammer.
Oh, you must put the potatoes in the hopper.
Michelle.
Who's your favorite actor? Dennis
Dennis,
Hopper.
Hopper, you stupid idiot.
Hopper.
All right, so,
I was thinking Gerard Depardieu.
all right, so Michelle, you got to boil the potato. It's got the directions are ridiculously specific. You got to boil the potatoes for 20 minutes until you can take a knife and it goes right through, and you can't pick up the potato out of the water. Then you got to drain the water, but let the potatoes cool. Then you've got to peel the skin off of the hot potatoes. Then you got to take the potatoes and put them in the hopper and grind them in the mill to rice them into little bitty like strings. And then you mix in the batter. And
you have to dry the potatoes. Let them go back into the pot, and they get to be dried so that any further water can be
Chef,
removed.
why didn't you tell us that?
Well, here's the problem. So Michelle starts screaming at me. I told you! I'm like watching TV. I'm trying to catch up on Succession. Michelle hates Succession. You think Succession's the worst writing and acting on the planet, right?
Oh, my God. It's terrible.
Yeah, what was worse, Succession or your first batch of potatoes?
Oh, my gosh. They're both equal.
So I like Succession. Michelle
So
does
does
not.
Doug.
So I watch it, and Michelle doesn't watch it. So I was catching up, and in the kitchen, because the living room where I was watching connects to the kitchen, and Michelle's screaming at me. And she's cursing at me, this, that, this. I told you those potatoes are not going to work. And they're gluey. They're gluey. And she's screaming at me, they're gluey. And she's like yelling at me, pause your show and come here. So I go to the kitchen.
You're getting yelled
And
at?
she shoves a wooden stirrer stick or whatever. What do you call it? A wooden utensil.
Spatula?
She
Yeah.
shoves it, almost takes my front teeth out. Taste this. And she's jamming it into my face. And she's like, they're all screwed up. We bought the wrong potato. And, it was kind of labor intensive. So Michelle's yelling at me, and the potatoes sucked. All right. They were gluey. It was like Play-Doh and like kids paste.
Yum.
So Michelle, the fake French chef, turns into Gordon Ramsay, just cursing up a storm.
Yeah, exactly.
You donkey.
She called me a miserable failure. You suck.
She smashed him on your
Yeah,
head
she
and
said
called
it
you
in
a
French.
donkey.
She threw the whole
In
pot at my.
French. Thanks, Roxanne, in French.
Je suis très fâchée.
There you go.
So it was a disaster. So the potatoes were a wreck.
Sounds like she sabotaged them on purpose.
Well, the Yukon Golds just didn't work. So Michelle's like, all right, that's it. Nope, we're not having potatoes. So I said, all right, Michelle, I'll go out. So Thanksgiving morning, I go out and I went to Sprouts, that's a nice store.
Never been.
Oh,
I like Sprouts.
Yes, I like Sprouts. So I go to Sprouts in South Tampa. They're open.
And the only kind of potatoes they have left are these French potatoes that nobody wanted to buy.
No. So they had a lot of potatoes at
Okay.
Sprouts. They had a ton of potatoes at Sprouts.
How many sprouts do they have?
None. They were all out of
They were all
Sprouts.
out of Sprouts,
All
but
out.
they had plenty of potatoes. And they had red potatoes. They had russet potatoes. They had
So did
little
they have,
bitty
did they have one potato,
They-
two potatoes?
Well, they didn't have raté, and I asked
Three potatoes?
the
But they had what?
Hot
Hold
potato?
on a minute. So the lady that was stocking the produce, I said, "Do you guys have raté potatoes?" And she's like, "Other people have asked for that. I've heard of them, but we don't have them." And you know what? This is the time of year we'd probably have raté potatoes around Thanksgiving. Nope, I've heard of them, but we don't have them. But and I said, "Okay, thanks." But then I saw these Canadian yellow potatoes. There was a 5-pound bag of Canadian, had little, French Canadian, Quebec stuff on the label and everything. And these were French Canadian,
See?
like
See?
yellow potatoes.
That's Spanish.
I bought a 5-pound bag, brought them home, and this time around, I did all the work. So I felt bad for Michelle, even though she assaulted me with hot potatoes all over my face.
Gluey
So
potatoes.
I boiled the potatoes. I followed the instructions. I peeled the potatoes after they cooled down. Then I put them back into the pot to cook them again to take the moisture out. And then I actually I put the potatoes in. I cut them up into slices and I put them into the metal hopper.
Mill the hopper faster.
I spun the potatoes.
Spin it.
Then I put them back into the pot, and then you add the butter. Now, for 5 pounds of potatoes, we should have had 2.5 pounds of butter, right, Michelle?
Yes.
It's 2-to-1 ratio. It is insane. It is crazy. And in fact, if you look at my Instagram, if you go to my Instagram, my personal Instagram, folks, and I encourage all of you listening to follow my Instagram at Certified Todd Schnitt. It's my real name. MJ is Todd Schnitt, same person. Follow my Instagram because you never know what videos, what kitchen mishaps are going to be on there. The kids, all kinds of our pets, all kinds of personal stuff I do on my personal Instagram. Give me a follow at Certified Todd Schnitt. That's Certified, then my name, TODD SCHNITT. So give me a follow. So I put the image up of the potatoes and then all of this butter on the kitchen scale. And it is insane. For 5 pounds of potatoes, we're supposed to use 2.5 pounds of butter. Michelle, you take it from here.
Couldn't do it.
Couldn't do it. We could not put 2.5 pounds of butter.
It wouldn't fit?
No.
Just mentally you couldn't?
All right, hold on a minute. Physically, we could. Mentally, we couldn't.
And you saw how much it was.
Yeah, well, when you start mixing it, you have to mix it a little at a time, like already in little cubes. And so you put in a little bit and you mix it, and you put in a little bit and you mix it. And every time MJ would put a little bit in and mix it, and then we'd taste it, he'd be like, that's good already. So we just didn't put all the butter in.
We put half the butter in, and they were incredible. The potatoes were right. They were silky smooth. They were incredible.
Well, then it wasn't the recipe, though. That's your recipe
I realized that. So, but, I mean, if we put all 2.5 pounds, I couldn't imagine
it. Would have been like frosting on a cake.
But that's the way the guy makes them.
It's like potato buttercream. Exactly right.
So, Michelle, do you want to try to make them the right way at some point?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
We're doing that tonight.
Well, we're not.
I think you should do it and then rub it all over each other. And
Roxanne.
Did you, what did you
talking about potatoes and it goes to sex.
Did you say rub the buttered potatoes all over our naked bodies? What is wrong with you?
Have so much. Doug, will you take care of this woman?
What is wrong with you?
Please, Doug.
it's the butter. It has me going, talking about the butter.
You all horned up over this mashed potato talk?
Doug, stop traveling with Derek and take care of your lady.
Yeah, really. Roxanne likes talking about butter play.
Spread some potatoes on her butt.
Introduce some butter to the bedroom. All right? I cannot believe it's not butter.
Spray.
All right, so where was it? All right, so the potatoes were fantastic. And I was reading something else, and this one lady who made this Joel Robuchon's famous French mashed potato recipe, she's like, you can only make these once in a blue moon. And so, like, once a year. I mean, you can only... Michelle, I cannot...
We're going to make them later this week, though.
No, we're not making them again.
Why not?
It's too soon. We can make them again maybe in the spring.
You guys just did that diet, and then you're going to... What are you doing? You do a diet to starve yourself, then you only do a butter diet. What's happening?
Let's see if we could stop our hearts.
let's.
I mean, that's why I could not put all 2.5 pounds of butter in with the 5 pounds of potato. I couldn't do it.
Is that sticks?
That's why next time I'll make them, and you won't know that I put all of the butter in there.
I'm sure he'll know now.